today's video, I take on a route that features a diverse range of impressive geological landforms. Picturesque waterfalls, dramatic gorges, the iconic limestone pavement, and the towering cliffs of Malham Cove. Stick around for a tour of some of the UK's most captivating landscapes. There's a lot to unpack on such a classic circuit, so let's waste no time. Join me on the ground at the start of our route. Hey there folks, welcome back to the channel. And for those of you that are new around here, my name's Alex, and for nearly a year now I've been uploading my exploration and adventure videos to this channel with the aim to inspire you to take on the routes for yourself, to give you ideas for your own adventures, to inform you on any facts, geography, history, points of interest that I find along the way, and to instruct you on the route details and any safety and outdoor awareness tips that I can give you. So I hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for supporting my channel. If you enjoy it, please help me out, like the video, subscribe. But for now, let's get stuck in. For those of you that do know my channel, I'm switching out the Lake District for the Yorkshire Dales today, on a route that I've not actually scouted or done before, so I think it's going to be an interesting one. And having set out early, I've headed to Malham for the start of my route. I got on the trail at about 9:30, on what I hope will be a real geological classic. Today's hike begins in Malham. I parked on a National Trust car park at £5 for the day. They have a visitor centre, free route maps, toilets and plenty of parking spaces, making today's circuit very accessible, but also allowing for its overpopularity during the school holidays, as I would find later. Out of the car park, I made a left and crossed over to the right-hand side of the road. I followed the bend past the Malham Methodist Chapel and soon found the trail signposted before the Malham Smithy. At this point, I crossed the bridge over the stream and joined the Pennine Way, where I headed south along a very flat, easy and pleasant footpath, with Malham Beck rushing along on my right and gorgeous open fields to my left. First observations were that the route and each of today's landmarks are very well signposted throughout the entire walk, in addition to the free tourist maps available at the visitors centre. You can barely go wrong. The only path that veers off the route is when you head through a kissing gate and you have to take a left path, which heads east away from Malham Beck as you link up with the River Aire, which later becomes Gordale Beck. And straight away you come to the first of 3 dilapidated old barns hidden away in the countryside. Mind me, guys. Let's talk. No, you're not speaking my language? Okay. The first stop on the route is Janet's Foss, a magical waterfall and plunge pool set away in the woodland. And legend has it that Janet, the queen of the fairies, lives in the waterfall caves there, if you believe in all of that stuff. I just love old buildings like this, just dotted along the route, forgotten and hidden in the countryside. It's a gorgeous day for it. Absolutely fantastic. I think we're due about 2 weeks of rain following this, so it was my last chance to really get out and film a video. But I really have underrated the Yorkshire Dales. It doesn't have as many mountains and lakes and tarns as places, you know, like Snowdonia and the lakes. But it's got a different kind of beauty. The rolling hills, the crags, the rocky outcrops. the woodland and waterfalls. I'll have to get out here more often. Gordale Beck. Pretty much following it now, I think, right up to Gordale Scar. Nice footpath, very well signposted route as well, just so you've got less worries about getting lost. It's a very basic circuit, this one today, to be fair. When you see this barn ahead of me, just set into the hillside here, that's a sign you're getting close to the waterfall, because as soon as this woodland starts, that's when we hit it. So before we reach our first stop with the Janet's Foss waterfall, I just wanted to mention that the geology of this whole area is predominantly limestone, and I'll be covering each area in turn in order to explain briefly what you're looking at, as well as detailing the route. And straight away you can see what I mean when I said the word magical earlier. Lovely little stream here, babbling away. Rocks covered with moss. And look at that picture there. Beautiful. Fairy woodland. So the legend has it. Just had some lunch back there by the stream. I think we're getting close to the waterfall now. Lots of people coming through. Busy route. It's a beautiful place to come and visit, so I can see why it's so popular. And quite a cool feature here, hidden away in the woods. Limestone cliff. At least you've got to assume it's limestone, like I mentioned before. Let's have a feel. Yeah. Oh, look at these cliffs. Fantastic. And finally, we arrive. But here is Janet's Foss, the home of Janet, Queen of the Fairies. Now guys, just excusing the noise of all the families and the kids that are surrounding this waterfall. But I'm just going to show you the home of Janet, Queen of the Fairies. It's right here behind the waterfall. It's very dark in this woodland, but you can just make out a cave just behind me over here. In fact, it's not just a cave, it's more of a tunnel that goes behind the rock face that the water is then cascading over, which is something I've never seen before in a waterfall. You get used to the plunge pool and water erosion, therefore over time, hollowing out that hollow behind the waterfalls. You see that quite often, but never actually a cave that just runs right behind it like this. So I feel like I should get up there and just investigate it, but it looks like a bit of a tricky climb, and it's quite dark anyway, so I don't think I'm going to bother. But there it is. So that was Janet's Foss. Very busy, too busy for me to really get as much footage and B-roll as I really wanted to, unfortunately. Lots of kids and families around. I don't really like getting them in my shots. I got one pan around just to sort of show what it's like in reality, but I don't think I'll probably use it. But that said, it is a beautiful little scene. I'm going to come back out of season. It is the school holidays as I'm filming this, which is my fault really. So just to talk a bit about the route so far, very easy, very manageable. Kids and people of all ages and abilities were at Janet's Foss waterfall back there. It's pretty much a flat footpath with no detours the whole way to the waterfall. Clearly signposted for Janet's Foss, very flat. There's stone slabs to form the footpath, making it very smooth, until you get to the woodland, and then it becomes a woodland trail as you would expect, with roots and rocks and all that kind of stuff. But then, just up to the left of the waterfall, you come to a road, and that's the one I'm on right now. And it's Gordale Lane, and I turned a right through the stile, turned a right. There's a little ice cream van actually, if you need any refreshments along the route. And I'm just following the signs for Gordale Scar now, and I think I'm about to veer off down this path behind me, and you can even see the scar-like scenery starting to emerge behind me. So I'm going to head down here. As I left Gordale Lane, I found myself on a very straight and convenient path leading directly to Gordale Scar. It only struck me later on how man-made and contrived this route had been so far, as opposed to the rocky and rugged trails that I'm used to hiking. But I reached a point where there were so many people on this towpath, heading to see the Scar, that I took an opportunity to wander off the path and seek my own peace and quiet to continue filming, rejoining Gordale Beck, which at this stage was more of an underwhelming trickle after a hot summer here in the UK. This minor detour also allowed me to get some epic shots of some sheep with the gorge in the backdrop. Be sure to follow my photography on Instagram and Vero for any of the day's photographs. So before I get into the geography, I just want to precursor this, but when I talk about ice ages, glacial periods, interglacial periods, these processes happened again and again over millions and millions of years, into hundreds of millions of years. So if I make it sound all simple, like it's happening overnight, it's not. It's a very, very long process. And the cyclic repetition of warming and cooling periods really took its toll on rock formations throughout the geological timescale. Gordale Scar is thought to be around 16 million years old, and the cliffs over 100 metres high. These cliffs would probably have been even taller before glacial meltwater erosion occurred, following those later ice ages. And you can see the evidence here by those higher layers of limestone set further back up on the higher slopes of the gorge. The ice ages could last anything from 100,000 years down to, maybe just 10,000 years. But during those ice ages, the snow layers would pack up, tightly packing the ice below. Glaciers would form in the valleys, and Gordale Scar likely was a much shallower valley than you see today, filled by a glacier. So in order to briefly touch upon how Gordale Scar was formed, just imagine that that void there is still filled with rock, limestone with a glacier flowing through it during the ice ages. Over time, the climate would start to warm again, melting would occur, and the consequent meltwater over hundreds of thousands, millions of years would have cut down into that gorge. And I believe what happened is a cavern was created by the meltwater, which, as this cavern grew in size, it no longer could support the roof, which then fell in, and that is what created the gorge that you see here today. So that's very loosely what happened. Like I say, I didn't want to bore anyone, but I do like to explain these things as I see them to try and generate a bit of interest for you. And right now we're going to head over there and we're going to have a closer look. So as you can see, I went off the path. Too many people on the path. Can't film a video when there's too many people around, so go off the path. Find a nice little stream with a path by it. Nice and quiet. Job done. So I've just spent about an hour just filming different bits, droning and all that kind of stuff. And so this stream that I'm walking along here, this is the remnants of that glacial period. This is what's left. It leads up to a waterfall, but it's pretty shallow at the moment because of the winter, and therefore the two waterfalls that you'll see today on this video, they're both pretty dry too. But this is just what's left of that meltwater from all that time ago. I'm just trying to ram that time frame down your throat because I feel like it's very easy to talk about, but it's so hard to comprehend. If you saw my last video on Sharp Edge, I touched upon it then, and yeah, it blows your mind. And now here we are, up close. Look at the scale of this. Check this out. I'd best get back on the path. And in a minute, you're going to see it open out into the main gorge. Wow. Jesus. This place is impressive.
Yeah.
know, sometimes on these kinds of vlogs that I do and many others do, you hear a lot of, oh, isn't it beautiful, isn't it gorgeous, all the time. But when you see somewhere for the first time, this place is it's just a marvel of nature. It really is. I can't get over it. It's the first time I've seen it here. I got a few previews with the drone, of course. I've already flown it in and around and above, but still just through like a little screen as I was watching on the drone, you don't get the scale and the magnitude of it. I mean, this place is massive. And I'll show you some more of it probably, but I just can't get over how I'm in awe of this place. I really am. Man, what nature can do. I think it's one of those places where you just can't, and I'm going to stare at it for a few seconds here, you can't comprehend what it's like in the magnitude and the stature of it unless you're actually here. I'm going to do my best with these videos, but try as I might, I won't be able to replicate what it's actually like to sort of stand and feel so small at the bottom of this gorge. Incredible. Tune in next time for part 2 as my adventure continues. First, I have to find my way out of Gordale Scar by climbing a waterfall. Then I'll pick my route across the hills and dales to the iconic Limestone Pavement, which stands above one of the most magnificent natural landmarks in the UK. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and especially if you enjoyed this part, click the notification bell to be notified of part 2 being uploaded, because you won't want to miss some of these landscapes from the air. And as always, I'll be there on the ground to show you the way. So until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you in part 2.